But I did watch. Pete Demolitolitis, who, of course, helps us with everything, he sent the press conference. And, listen, I always enjoy Aaron Rodgers. I know some people don't, but I kind of enjoy his quirkiness. I do find him to be very real with his answers for the most part. I know he's dodged some things in the past about the team and things like that, but I thought this was cool. There was a lot of little quotes like that and little things that just, gave perspective to where he's at in his life as a player, and, it was pretty good. It really was.
I still am a firm believer that he and I are a lot alike in many ways, but there are still some things that he does from time to time that I find irritating, and I'm sure that feeling is mutual as well between Aaron Rodgers and me, up to and including the crap that he believes people shouldn't bother wasting. I've screwed it up.
You're screwing it up.
Don't waste your time reading that crap.
Don't waste your
time listening to this crap either. There it is.
Yes.
Reading crap like that.
Yeah, don't read crap like that.
Thank
That's
you.
right. I was hoping there in that clip, when they did ask him about, where did it come from, where you're into revenge and all those things. I was hoping he was going to be like, hey, it was that jerk Florio. He keeps writing crap like that.
We're just trying to understand what's going on. We're trying to analyze the situation. And we, Chris, you and I together, are on his side as it relates to the Packers' responsibility for allowing this relationship to become fractured. As Mark Murphy, the CEO of the team, acknowledged back in June when things were still kind of tenuous, he's a complicated fella. Well, you have to factor that into the decisions you make, the communications you have or don't have with the guy. If you understand that there's a certain approach that you must use when dealing with Aaron Rodgers and you deliberately choose not to use it, and there's a problem that arises after that, that's on you.
Yeah.
Because you know the guy better than anyone.
Exactly. Agreed. I mean, that's what we spent most of last year talking about. Like, what? Duh. Like, you knew he was going to react like this. Everybody else in the world did. And what did you expect? So I think that's part of the frustration with all of this and this whole subject. And it's one thing that just I don't understand, still – when I look at social media and stuff, there's still just so much hate towards Aaron Rodgers, and they call him a diva. And I just want to go, why? Why? What is he a diva about? I don't get it. Because he carries the team on his back year after year? I mean, what? It makes one snarky comment during a season or yells at a receiver, and people go, oh, he's a diva. But then if some other quarterback yells at the receiver and do that, oh, what a great leader. Look at him. He's holding everybody accountable. He's held to a different standard because he's great. And people don't want to recognize it, and they hate on him because he didn't win Super Bowls. That's really what it comes down to me, at least. I don't understand it.
I interpret it a different way. First of all,
yeah, I know you do.
Whoever you are, there's going to be hate on Twitter. If Mother Teresa was still alive, there would be hate on Twitter for Mother Teresa, right?
Yeah.
I think we can agree with that.
Yeah.
Secondly, there is that long-standing dynamic, and it's throughout professional sports, but especially football, where the fans will line up behind the teams, and they always take the team's side, and they want the players to know their place. And this idea that Aaron Rodgers would dare want to have input in the personnel, in coaching, in anything other than just calling the play that he's told to run, throwing the football, going back to the huddle, lather, rinse, repeat, there's a resentment of the fact that he would even want to do something more
it's ridiculous.
than the bare minimum requirement of a player to go out and play football. But I will say this.
Yeah.
Last year, when all of this stuff was percolating, and he told Peter King recently that he arrived at camp last year believing it was his last season with the Green Bay Packers. The fact that he kept that under wraps until the press conference after the loss to the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game, very impressive. We see a different Aaron Rodgers this year. This Aaron Rodgers is far more transparent and candid, and he just kind of has that attitude, I think, Chris, where he just doesn't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Like it. Right.
I'm too old to give a crap.
Yeah.
I'm going to say what I think. So let's hear some of what he had to say yesterday regarding his perspective for this season, which if he thought last year was his final season, he probably thinks there's a good chance this year will be his final season with the Packers.
I don't look at it as getting through the season, though. I think that's the most important thing. I'm going to enjoy it like I enjoyed last year. The reason I said that and the reason I approached it like that was I just knew when the pick was made that the clock had started for sure. And I thought, unless there was something in the season that really made me feel like I'm going to be here past 2021, that maybe this would be my last year, because I didn't want to be going into a year with some sort of, as a lame duck, like I said. I just didn't think that was fair to what I've accomplished and what I mean to this team, and nothing really changed in that regard. So I went in the offseason thinking, man, that could have been it. I'm glad that I enjoyed every moment. I'm glad I led exactly the way I wanted to lead, and looked for those conversations with certain guys that needed a pick-me-up at different times, and took the headphones off and enjoyed, the surroundings and the road trips and the time with the guys. So yeah, it's a good template for sure. I don't want a farewell tour. I don't know what's going to happen after the season, but I'm going to enjoy it with the right perspective for sure.
A lot of revealing things there, Chris. Let's begin with this idea that he knew the clock started when they picked Jordan Love. That helps explain why he was upset about it. It's one thing to draft a quarterback. It's another thing to draft a quarterback under circumstances that scream out to the incumbent, eventually you're going to be gone. Even though you've never played the Brett Favre game. You've never said, maybe I'll retire. Hey, maybe I'll retire this year. Maybe I'll retire next year. He's always said, I want to play into my 40s, and I don't want to play for any team other than the Green Bay Packers. And he still wasn't immune. Still wasn't exempt from the team drafting his replacement. So that was the wake-up call. And he talks about being a lame duck. This gets back to the contract. His issue with the contract, the way it's set up, he's a lame duck every year. He was a lame duck last year. Right. He's a lame duck this year. Right. And if he comes back next year, he's a lame duck that year, because there's nothing in the contract that makes it impractical / impossible for the Packers to move on from it.
No, you're right. But I think what, what do I want to say, exemplifies the lame duck thing is that there's a first-round quarterback behind you. Like, if there was no first-round quarterback, I think he'd be going, okay, lame duck, whatever. I'm here. There's nobody else to replace me. I'm still playing good football. But when that happens, then you really do become the lame duck. And, that's where I think it's like, okay, that's a whole different ball game altogether. Of course, the way it went down, that was not great to Aaron Rodgers. He was totally caught off guard by it. We know that 100%. I think he's felt like he's been misled by management along the way. And to me, like, when just at a base level, the way I look at it, like, compared to last year, he talks about, like, yeah, he thought maybe last year might be it, right? But he was hoping for more. Like, let me make it hard on them, and I'll win. If I win the MVP, they won't make me the lame duck. They'll give me another few years, and I'll be here for another 2 or 3 years. Well, that didn't work out. And to me, where he's different this year is it's like he wants this to be his final year in Green Bay a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I don't think I don't think he's scared of it anymore. I think it's a little bit more like, man, I'm kind of out of here, I think, right? It's probably going to have to be something miraculous for me to stay. And that's why he's a little bit like you said before, the old man that's just like, hey, the hell with this. I'm just going to go play. I'm too old to be worrying about all this bull crap. I'm just going to do my best, enjoy the game and some of the things he says. And I think that's where the different mindset is compared to last year to this year.
This is the house money season for Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Last year was his last season in Green Bay. That was his mindset as he entered the year. This year, once he decided to come back, more on that in a few minutes, this is the icing on top of the icing, on top of the cherry, on top of the cake season. And he said he doesn't want a farewell tour. And, I've long believed, based upon things I've heard regarding Tom Brady, he never wants a farewell tour. He doesn't want it to be about him. And also, there's a concern that if you add that extra emotion of this is the last time you will do this, this is the last time you will do that, this is the last time you will play here, this is the last time you will play there, It's just enough to send a guy off kilter.
It distracts
the emotion, the emotion. It keeps you from focusing on what you need to focus on, and those two things, either or, maybe there's something else that we're not aware of. That would be why he doesn't want a farewell tour, even though it's a farewell tour. And that's why he's not going to tell us it's his last year. He doesn't want a farewell tour.
Right.
That's all we need to know that it is his last year with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want the farewell tour. I feel like guys like Brady and Rodgers don't want it too because listen, they've been praised so much. They're going to have a farewell tour after they're retired. Everywhere they go, everyone's going to be like, "Oh my gosh, Brady, Aaron Rodgers, holy cow, it's amazing." But I think the point you make is real. Football's emotional enough. It really is. Now to start thinking like, oh, I could be the last time I'm here, or this is the last time, this person will be in the stands watching the game or doing all those type of things. It'll take you away from what your task is, which is, worrying about your offense, your checks, what the defense is going to do, staying focused that way. And, he's still trying to, deliver the reckoning here to everybody in the NFL, whether it's his personal play and, of course, just the team trying to get back to the Super Bowl. I do still think he has that drive and edge about him to do that, and he does not want to be distracted by, getting like, rocking chairs in every stadium where he goes to and things like that and all that crap.
I need to go back to the guy who, to me, is conspicuously omitted from any of the discussion about the events that led to Aaron Rodgers feeling the way he feels, and that's team CEO Mark Murphy. Brian Gutekunst is the guy who always gets mentioned when we talk about the angst that Rodgers feels, but I still think that Murphy is this mad scientist / puppet master who knows how to push buttons, knows how to pull strings, understood how, and we talked about this at the time, the Tyler Dunne report, he was with Bleacher Report at the time, about the dysfunction between Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, and Murphy himself said, maybe this will piss some people off and maybe it'll be good for us this year. And then comes 2020, draft Jordan Love. Maybe this will piss some people off and maybe it'll be good for us this year. Murphy didn't say it, but I think there was an element of that because what happened? It worked. It got more out of Aaron Rodgers at a time when he should be descending, and based on 2019, there was evidence to think maybe he was beginning to decline.
Sure.
Not last year and not this year. He's in the I'm going to stick it to them phase of the latter years of his career, and so the Packers are going to get the absolute best out of him before the time comes to flip the switch to Jordan Love. So in that regard, despite, look, the acrimony, the dirty laundry, the back and forth, the uncertainty, that's not good for anybody. But what is good is the fact that this strategy has resulted in a better version of Aaron Rodgers on the football field.
Yeah, certainly. It didn't help him in all ways. Like the Tyler Dunne thing, a lot of people think like Aaron Rodgers has had some play in that, behind that, and was a part of like the rumors behind there that Tyler Dunne was writing. From everything I know about that situation, that is not true at all. So that made Rodgers look bad too. So I'm sure, I know you and I both agree that Mark Murphy is calling a lot of shots there in Green Bay. He's certainly a part of a lot of these conversations and all those type of things. Yeah, okay. I'm all for trying to motivate players and getting the best out of them, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And to me, there's just been a few steps along the way where I just go, forget the human aspect, what Rodgers talked about. It's not how you treat humans. It's not how you treat football players. And regardless, in a business, it's not the way you treat the guy who's made business so good for the last 12 years. I mean, the reason. That's it. You were in NFC championship games and Super Bowls for one reason. Because most people can't name people that were on the 2016 NFC championship game. Nobody. I mean, you think about it and you go, man, I can't even remember who was on that Packers team. There's nobody notable there. Why is that? It's because Aaron Rodgers was the freaking team carrying them all the time. And that's where I get angry, as you could tell, with the way they've treated him, because I am a little old school. And, I mean, geez, Eli Manning is nowhere near Aaron Rodgers. And they let him hang around and rolled out the red carpet for him. And
well, they tried.
They tried. They gave him every chance.
There was an awkward moment with Geno Smith at one point.
Right.
But after that, they went back to letting Eli coast into the sunset.
Right, exactly. But they still, nonetheless, they gave him every avenue to, like, hey, we'll give you one more shot and all those type of things. And that's where Rodgers is slighted in my view. Again, he's been slighted as compared to the other great quarterbacks of all time. You've heard me say this. I mean, Brady's got Hall of Famers all over his teams. I mean, Rodgers through his career, I think the only Hall of Famer we're going to really see is Charles Woodson and maybe Bakhtiari at some point. Other than that, you're not going to see any other Hall of Fame players in the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay era. And that's where he feels disrespected, too, on a personal level. And, I feel for him that way. So, I'm, of course, rooting for him. You know that.
First of all, we've got important information to present to you here, but I'm astounded that it has taken me 18 minutes to realize that you apparently took one of your son's shirts today and put it on.
Man,
what
who
the
told
hell
you
are
that?
You doing there, JJ
Somebody,
Watt?
But that's you didn't come up with that. That is Matt or Pete.
I just happened to notice that there's more body than material that I can see today, and there's more of the body that I want to see.
It is a little tight. You're right, but damn, I don't know. I kind of like it. I only got a few days left to wear these like little polos and stuff, so I just did it. But you're right. It is a little high on the arms. I don't. I should have done some curls yesterday to look a little better.
I thought you're starting your midlife crisis since you got 41 coming up pretty soon.
I do got 41 coming up pretty soon. You going to get me another autographed jersey? Who's 41 that you can get me an autographed jersey? Any good 41s in the past? I don't think there really is.
No, there haven't been. All due
Keith
respect to anyone
Byers
who wore
is the
41.
only 41 I can think of. Remember Keith Byers back in the day with the Eagles, right? He's the only one.
If I recall correctly, and there's a chance I don't, did Charlie Waters, the great defensive back of the Cowboys, wear number 41?
I think you're right. I think you're right. He did wear.
Not many.
41. Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Good job,
how about that? Blind
way to go there, old-timer.
Acorn, baby.
Yeah,
old-timer. All right. One potential Hall of Famer, if he'd hung around and continued to produce at a high level for the Green Bay Packers in the past decade, Clay Matthews III, who continues to be available. Now, let me set this up before we hear from Aaron Rodgers, because it was over the weekend, Rodgers, Randall Cobb, David Bakhtiari all take to social media to make a push for Clay Matthews to be brought back to the Packers. And it was picked up by everybody.
Yeah.
We wrote about it. Then I started to see people suggest, it's just a joke, or he's going to sign a one-day contract to retire or something like that. So at that point, I actually did put on the hat with the little reporter, card and tie, and I started making some phone calls to find out, is this real? Is this a joke? Because if it's a joke, it's not funny. I'm missing the punchline if it's a joke.
Right.
And my understanding was they want him back. He'd be interested in coming back at the right price, and they know that the front office will never do it, but they still made the push anyway. So with that background, here's Aaron Rodgers from yesterday talking about whether or not he and others truly want to get Clay Matthews back on the team.
The conversation is the most important thing. I'm, always pride myself on being reasonable and rational. Sometimes what I think is best might not be best based on gathering all the evidence and all the opinions and hearing thoughts from different people. Just to be in the conversation would be a great start. And that's kind of what I've expressed since February. There's a lot of conversations about football stuff and what might not seem like football stuff that does affect my job. And I enjoy just at least being aware of the conversations. In the conversations is an even better position to be. And then actually having an opportunity to maybe impact the decision is great. Friday night, I was with Dave and his lovely fiance, Frankie, and the Cobbs. And we had a question about Clay that came up because Clay just moved, moved from California. And so we got Clay on the FaceTime. Those conversations turned into a social media post. There hasn't been, I don't think, a big push from any of us to sign him. We didn't even talk ball. We were just kind of BSing with him, having a good conversation. But he's a big farmer now. I'm not sure. He's kind of like Jordy. He probably got that strength to be able to play, but I don't think I've thought about football in a while.
Well, if it was a joke, it was an inside joke that still wasn't very funny. All three guys posting a photo of Clay Matthews with "bring him back" in all caps. And it just kind of sat there for a week. So here's Aaron Rodgers explaining it 5 days later. And again, I'm telling you, they want him back. They know the front office won't bring him back. And I didn't set up the clip the right way. Sorry about that. He talked about his communications with the front office before that. But that's an important element here, too, because, look, for every guy that you sign, you have to let someone else go. And it's this balance. We talked about it earlier in the week as it relates to a different team. I can't remember which team, but the idea that every guy you keep another year is one less young guy you can keep and develop, and this is the challenge for building and maintaining a football team. You have to make the tough decisions every year as to who stays and who goes. And if Aaron Rodgers is going to have a seat at the table for those conversations, he needs to understand it's not fantasy football. You have to be balancing. For every guy in, there's a guy out. For every guy you keep, there's a guy you can't keep. For every guy who's on the field, there's somebody else who's going to be on the sidelines, not developing into part of the future nucleus of the team.
Well, all right, so it was Rodgers, Bakhtiari, and who was the other one? Who was the third guy?
Randall
Cobb, right. I mean, to me, that was just a group effort. That was a threesome to say F you to the front office. They're messing with them. They probably are. I mean, Randall Cobb probably doesn't love the front office in Green Bay either. So joined the party with Aaron Rodgers. And then Bakhtiari is the beer-chugging friend of Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it was kind of like, hey, man, we love Clay. Let's throw this out there, put some pressure on the front office, mess with them a little bit. Either way, it's part of the frustration. But I think Aaron Rodgers, to his point to everything else you're saying there, yeah, he just wants to be in some of these conversations, just like all the other great quarterbacks of all time. Not that they're calling shots or doing anything like that. Again, yeah, Peyton Manning was. I mean, we've heard Coach Dungy tell us he was involved in a lot of conversations overall. I mean, game planning, how to approach this, players on the field, all that. Yeah, because he was that type of guy. Brady, hey, a little different. But he had like a messenger to give. Like he had McDaniels in the meeting room to go, I like this receiver. And then McDaniels could go and talk to Bill about, Tom kind of likes this guy and blah, blah, blah. So nonetheless, the conversation was there. For everything we've learned over the last year, it's shocking. It just sounds like Aaron Rodgers had nobody to talk to, nobody on his side, nobody to let the front office know what he liked or was thinking about a player or something on the roster and those things. And that, to me, is wrong. Not to say the quarterback needs to call the shots, but you need to hear what he says. These are guys that are like Aaron Rodgers, if he decided to want to be, and some of these great quarterbacks, they could be high-level head coaches one day. They have those type of minds. Now, they're not going to do that because they've made $1 quadrillion already, but it's still shocking when I hear that. Quadrillion. That was a new one for me. That might be, hopefully that's not a Simmsism. That's just stupid.
That might actually be
a real
the
name?
Next one beyond trillion. So you may have inadvertently used the right term there. Okay. As you're explaining it, and I agree with you. Look, I think there was alcohol involved in this dinner that these guys had.
Right.
Beer for Bakhtiari, tequila or scotch for Aaron Rodgers, and Randall Cobb probably so indebted to Aaron Rodgers for getting it back to Green Bay, he'll drink whatever Aaron Rodgers is drinking.
Right.
But still, it meshes with what I was told. They want him back. He'd be interested in coming back, but they know the front office isn't going to do it. So these are the kids in the classroom messing with the teacher.
Definitely.
They're messing with Jerry Krause. Remember that?
Yeah.
And that was never disputed, that Aaron Rodgers referred to Brian Gutekunst as Jerry Krause as a nod to the Last Dance documentary where Krause was so reviled by Michael Jordan and the other Bulls players. So, yeah, they're messing with him. This is the kids dropping their pencil when the clock strikes 2 just to mess with the teacher. And so if it was a joke, the only way it was a joke was they want him back, they know they're not bringing him back, and we did this thing together just to stick it to Goody. That's the context of the joke. Ha ha. Very funny.
Right.
But and again, my first thought is, well, this is going to piss off Brian Gutekunst. And he's not going to say that, and he's spoken to the media since then, but it's got to be the kind of thing that you just say, God, why, Aaron? We're thinking about giving you a seat at the table, and you're gonna do this?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, I know that's another thing where I just go again back to what we were talking about a little bit ago. Last year, he's hoping for more years. This year, he's hoping this is the last year. He doesn't care. It's going to be scorched earth, and he's not going to play political games to the front office or do anything like that. I think he's just going to let it fly and have fun and do whatever and just go from there. And I don't know. It just seems that way to me. That's a good example of it, nonetheless.
By the way, quadrillion, an actual word. This is an example of an accidental non-Simmsism.
Boom.
Where the word that comes out, and as it comes out, you're kind of thinking, meh. It's a word. It is the next step after trillion. It is 1,000 trillion, which means that Jeff Bezos will be a quadrillionaire at some point in the next few years.
All right.
Okay. Now, the last point before we move on. This is Aaron Rodgers appearing on the Dan Le Batard and Friends podcast regarding a very important question that got overlooked by everyone once Aaron Rodgers decided to show up for training camp. How close was Aaron Rodgers to not showing up, not because he was going to hold out, but because he was going to retire? Let's hear from Aaron Rodgers on the Dan Le Batard and Friends podcast.
Can it be said now how close, the closest you were to retiring within that?
Oh, I mean, I felt going into the weekend before camp that I was 50-50. I said that to the Sirius the other day. I don't care if people don't believe that. I mean, that's true. There were some things that got me to 50-50 for sure. And, you know, I spent a couple of days in silence and meditation and contemplation and really felt like I should come back. There's a lot of opportunities for growth and exciting things in Green Bay, and that felt like the right thing to do.
First of all, let me just say this. That is one hell of a big decision to defer to the weekend before it's time to show up. And we all make decisions different ways. But to kick the can all the way until the weekend when you're on the verge of making a 6-month commitment, a commitment you've already made, but you haven't honored it all this year because you didn't show up for the mandatory minicamp, that's a lot to pack into a weekend. That's a big weekend of meditation, reflection, etc. But you know, a lot of people just don't believe him when he says it, but Chris, there was a reason the sports books freaked out.
That's right.
On that Friday and pulled all the Packers bets off the board.
No
they
doubt.
were hearing it could happen. So I tend to believe him.
I do too. You know, I mean, listen, it's a tough decision. It's one of those type of things where, you know, you're not happy at work and you're miserable and you don't like people there and you feel mistreated. Yeah, it's going to come up to the you know, the last bell or, you know, 12 midnight to when you're going to make that decision of like, do I really want to go there and do that? And especially when you know you had enough money saved in the bank and all those type of things. I do believe he's got no reason to lie about that. And I think that's what you said is the first thing I thought of. That's why the sports books all went crazy there. They heard from somebody in Green Bay or Aaron Rodgers' agency. They had some connection to know that this was a real thing. There's no doubt about it. You know, I can understand it to a degree. Of course, I can't put myself in Aaron Rodgers' shoes or anything like that. But I was in a situation in Tampa Bay where the head coach did not want me anymore after I lost my spleen. And he was making it apparent without just saying it and just come to me. Tell me what you're thinking. You know, but I was hearing rumors and him talking behind my back and then he was giving me all these signals that he didn't like me or didn't want me anymore, right? So now I'm coming back the next year, and I just remember thinking, like, I love football. You know that. I remember going, man, this is going to suck. I don't even know if I want to go today. Like, I got to go see John Gruden and deal with him. I know he doesn't like me, and I don't like him right now and anything like that. He's trying to finagle a way to get rid of me and all of those type of things. And I think that would make anybody miserable or not want to go to work. So from that standpoint, I get it, and his is even to a bigger degree than me, of course.
Give me an example of something that Gruden said or did. I'm just curious. How does he manifest the fact that he doesn't want you there anymore?
Well, I mean, like, he would I could never explain anything. Like, as far as if I made a mistake in practice and he would just shoot me down right away. I couldn't even talk. Oh, you're wrong. Horrible play. You're just doing bad. Here I coming off my spleen, right? I'm not normal. I mean, I had one of the strongest arms in the NFL. I've never been normal. I know. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
In his defense.
In his defense. I'll give him credit there. But I'm not normal physically. Let's say that. You know, I'm not saying I was worth a damn as a quarterback, but I had a really strong arm. Now, all of a sudden, I couldn't throw the ball 15 yards down the field. And he was telling reporters that I was completely healthy and just not practicing well. Well, what? What? Like, I got a quote from you, head coach, telling the newspaper people last year that my arm's better than Brett Favre. Now I can't throw it 15 yards, and you're going to tell everybody I'm absolutely healthy. I'm just not practicing good. There was a lot of little signals like that, let alone, you know, other people in the organization kind of telling me behind closed doors that he was trying to get rid of me. And it was made miserable. And Rodgers, of course, is a god as compared to me or any quarterback. And the way they treated him, I can totally understand his feeling of like, man, do I really want to go back there and see these people and deal with this crap?
See, this helps me understand, and this goes back to our relationship, which is now 4 years old. I've kind of gone sour on Gruden because I've just picked up these little bits and pieces from you over the years about how he treated you. It's like, hey, he mistreated my friend years before he was even my friend. Kind of pisses me off. You still got this strange loyalty to the guy that treated you like that. What's up with that, man?
I try to be the bigger man, period. You know, I know.
Well, you are by about 1.5 feet.
I know. I just, again, it's a business. It's emotional and those type of things. Do I wish he would have treated me a little bit better? Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, I just came to the conclusion at one point, and I even reached out to him a number of years ago and just said, hey, I know it didn't end well, but I made the comment of like, I still had a lot of good years and learned a lot of football. And I just try to, wipe it away and move on with life and appreciate it for what it was. I did grow up in an NFL household to know that, like, it ain't all roses, no matter how good you are or anything like that. But, yeah, I guess I do still have somewhat of a loyalty, towards John Gruden.
And there is the definitive proof that if you were to send in a DNA sample to one of the services out there, it would return 0.0% Italian for Christopher Simms. Not that the complexion and the eyes and the hair didn't already give it away, but trust me.
Yes,
trust
I
me,
know. I'm married to one.
This 91% Southern Italian would not have behaved that way, and would not have tried to be the bigger man. So maybe it is in our blood.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.